I do not own the rights to this music. Hello, and welcome to Sunday School Summary with Brother Ron. Sunday School lesson for Sunday, March 21st, 2021. Our reference material for the Sunday School Summary is based upon the International Sunday School Lesson Series as published by the Sunday School Publishing Board. We are discussing Prophets Faithful to God's Covenant as the title of the Spring Lesson Series, and it's categorized into 3 units or groups of lessons. In Unit 1, we're talking about faithful prophets. Unit 2, we talk about prophets of restoration. And in Unit 3, we'll talk about courageous prophets of change. Unit 1 of the Spring Quarterly Sunday School Lesson Series discusses the faithful prophets. The faithful prophets explores the reasons why prophets were necessary in Israel's history and also illustrates the fulfillment of God's promise given to Moses. The title of our third lesson in the Unit 1 Spring Lesson Series is titled Seeking Wisdom for the Future, and that's from 2 Kings chapter 22, verse 19, which reads as follows: Because thine heart was tender, and thou hast humbled thyself before the Lord, when thou heardest what I spoke against this place, and against the inhabitants thereof, that they should become a desolation and a curse, and has rent thy clothes, and wept before me, I also have heard thee, saith the Lord. So in this passage, King Josiah has heard the word, and he has become so torn in by the word that he tore his clothes. And the Lord said that he heard him because his heart was tender, and he heard the word and wrote it on his heart. The background for today's lesson, the title of the lesson is Seeking Wisdom for the Future. And the background to the story is the book of 2 Kings, and it documents the reign of Josiah, king of Judah. Now, Josiah was a serious and righteous man in the sight of God. However, Josiah had inherited a nation that had pretty much abandoned the book of the law of Moses and lost its way and had fallen into practices of idolatry, astrology, and corruption was rampant. All of this resulting from the rule of his father and grandfather. So the king set about to restore the religious practices as well as the temple in Jerusalem. There are 2 summary lesson points for today: a rebellious calamity, and that's from 2 Kings chapter 22, verses 14 to 17, and a pious king's consolation, and that's from 2 Kings chapter 22, verses 18 through 20. Now, the passages for the lesson today revolve around the key words of prophetess, pious, consolation, and calamity. Now, a prophetess was a woman who speaks by divine inspiration or as the interpreter through whom the will of God is expressed, as in Huldah, who is the prophetess we are talking about today. Now, Pious is a devoutly religious, dutiful, or loyal person, as King Josiah in today's lesson. Consolation. A consolation is the comfort received by a person or after a loss or disappointment. A person or thing providing comfort to a person who has suffered. A consolation. And calamity is an event causing great and often sudden damage or distress, as in a calamity resulting from the disobedience of the children of Israel in today's lesson. Now, in rebellious people's calamity, from 2 Kings chapter 22, verses 14 through 17. And these passages discuss the aftermath of the discovery of a book of the law during the renovation of the temple in Jerusalem. Now, the reading of the book of law reveals how far the nation of Israel has descended from the teachings of the law and the consequences of that disobedience of the law. King Josiah is so concerned about the level of deviation from the law that he seeks to confirm his understanding of the law, as well as the will of the Lord, by engaging the prophetess Huldah. He sends 5 advisors to seek divine guidance and confirmation of the wrath and judgment according to the book of life. Now, the prophetess Huldah confirms that the children of Israel has incurred the wrath of God by forsaking God due to their idolatry of other gods, their corruption, and their sinful living. She also confirms that the wrath of God will consume the children of Israel, as the Lord will bring evil, meaning that he will punish the inhabitants of Israel. And a pious consolidation from 2 Kings chapter 22, verses 18 through 20. And in these passages, the prophetess Huldah confirms that the will of God is the coming judgment of Israel as a result of their disobedience to the law as contained in the book of the law. This is the same understanding that is reached or was reached by Josiah and his advisors. The prophetess Huldah reported that in her divine wisdom that the Lord would render judgment of and the total destruction of the nation of Israel. That the Lord would have mercy on Josiah because when he heard the word, it touched his heart. He humbled himself and sought wisdom or understanding, and he committed to following the book of the law. He was consoled, or Huldah reported that the Lord would console him or reward him by not bringing God's judgment of Israel during Josiah's reign. So the Lord said he would have judgment, but he would also have mercy. So the summary lesson points for Sunday, March 21st, 2021. A rebellious calamity from 2 Kings chapter 22, verses 14 through 17, and a pious consolation, 2 Kings 22, 18 through 20. Josiah, a righteous king who had repentant heart when he heard the word and sought meaning or confirmation of the word from the prophetess Huldah. The Lord showed mercy by not bringing judgment on Israel during his reign or on his watch. As Christians, when we hear the word, we have to take it into our heart and we have to commit ourselves to following the word. And we have to commit ourselves to obtaining wisdom and understanding of the word. So that's the Sunday School summary for Sunday, March 21st, 2021. This is Brother Ron. Have a blessed week, and we hope to see you next Sunday for another edition of Sunday School Summary with Brother Ron. How long is it?